My guest tonight is a poet, writer, performer and general troublemaker. He's wonderful. Please welcome the fantastic Benjamin Zephaniah. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure, man. I've got to tell you something. I should tell you this away from the audience, really, but I really love you, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really do, man. I watch your show. I don't watch much on television, but I watch your show and I think, that's a guy I really want to wrestle with.
What a lovely thing to say.
Yeah, it's true.
That's really lovely.
I do. I like your moves, man. You know, I like, yeah.
I feel fantastic. You'd like to wrestle with me? I thought we were going to chat about poetry, but it turns out we could go down an entirely different avenue. And I don't mean that as a euphemism. I mean... but if you're up for that, yeah. How... There's a lovely air of sexual tension. I like you, I've wanted to meet you for a while, because you describe yourself as a writer, a poet, and a troublemaker. What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that if we didn't have troublemakers, most of, if not all of the women in this audience wouldn't have the vote. A black person wouldn't be talking to a white person. I'd probably be back in slavery. We need troublemakers to make trouble, to challenge the establishment. And I want to be one of those people that challenge the establishment. What
you've just said is amazing. This is really strange. But do you know the poem which says, it's just reminded me of what you said, those who dream by night, in the dusty recesses of their mind, wake in the day to find that all is vanity, but the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they act upon their visions with open eyes and make them happen.
That's deep shit, man.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah. the way you said it was much better.
Who's the poet here?
I read up about you, and you've met so many amazing people. You've met Bob Marley, you've met Nelson Mandela. Who is the person that sticks out the most to you?
Wow, that's a really interesting question.
Because I read a story that when you met Nelson Mandela, he was a fan of yours.
Yeah, that was really bizarre.
Isn't that amazing?
Because what happened was, when he was in prison, he actually had a kind of government in exile in prison, so he had a Minister of Education and a Minister of Transport and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I also met the prison guards that held him captive, and they said they would nick newspapers, and then they would look at the news of the day and talk about what they would do as a government.
Oh, wow.
So one day he was given a parcel of my poetry and music. In those days it was cassettes. And they played it all and read it all and then sat down and talked about, you know, the political situation in Britain, what they would do as a government. Yeah. And when I met Mandela, he was like thanking me for all the work I've done in supporting the struggle against apartheid. And I'm saying, oh, come on, man, you know, I'm thanking you for being such an inspiration. And also Bob Marley, when I was a kid, I wrote a letter to him.
Did you?
Yeah, I wrote a letter and sent him some poems and said, you know, my name's Benjamin Zephaniah, I come from Birmingham, and I write poetry. Oh, wow. And he wrote me a letter back, a handwritten letter, and said something like, Britain needs you, keep going. And so, again, it was very inspirational to me.
Was it?
I was about 15 at the time.
Britain, what an amazing thing.
And then about...
Do you still have that?
No.
How have you lost that, Benjamin?
I left it at girlfriend's house, man. I had to get out quickly.
Did you use that letter to go see wine?
Oh, I use it all the time.
Yeah, nice.
I do go, oh, me and Bob Marley, we friends. My mate Bob.
Favourite Bob Marley song? Got to be a Redemption song, innit?
Yeah, I love Redemption song. But I love Bob Marley as a poet.
All right.
You know, I see him as a poet. This morning I woke up in a curfew. Oh God, I was a prisoner too. Could not recognise the faces standing over me, all dressed in uniforms of brutality. How many rivers do we have to cross before we can talk to the boss? I mean, that's a song lyric, but it's a poem, it's beautiful. Not one of his most popular lyrics, but to me, one of his most powerful.
Honestly, if I was a woman right now... it must... Have you ever... Here's a question. Have you ever used poetry to woo ladies?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm still single.
Nice. Now, do you ever get stage fright?
No, not really.
OK.
No.
Some poets do. I'm not sure if you've ever seen this, but this is both toe-curlingly awkward and very funny.
You're going to do a spoken word for us now, right?
Right.
And tell us what we're about to hear.
It's just a freestyle.
Okay.
I'm just going to think it up as I go.
Freestyle. Well, let me sit back. Go ahead, Marshall.
Okay. Years ago, they tried to put me in the... this is a lie.
Did you want to try to read something from your book?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who is your favourite poet, do you have? Or your favourite poem? Is there one?
Well, my favourite poem is by Adrian Mitchell. Very short poem. The version I like is only in 3 lines.
Okay.
Most people ignore most poetry because most poetry ignores most people. I think
Nice.
that's very true. A lot of people write poetry that's pretentious.
Yeah.
It's trying to show off how educated they are. I want to take poetry off the bookshelf and give it back to the people. I want to make it musical. I want to make it funny. I want to make it serious.
But it's just so...
I want
it is
people to
for
understand that
everybody.
poetry's for them.
We can have a go. We can try and write a poem. Just write a poem. Just write a poem about the news. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
It all depends on what day you write it on, mate.
It does.
You know.
Benjamin Zephaniah. Vladimir Putin is a liar. Seems to me the world's a farce, obsessed with Kim Kardashian's arse. Switch on the telly, there's news that will amuse, make you cry or sob. Taking the piss, that's my job.
But you know what? I reckon his brother wrote that.
If my brother wrote that, there would be a different rhyme for job. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. It's been a genuine pleasure.
It's my pleasure, man. Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Benjamin Zephaniah.